want to do in that instance is you'd want to go to your team lead and say, all right, and we can do that because EXP is one large brokerage. What you're going to see here is this is a script that accompanies this bullet point. So my suggestion to you would be you're going to internalize the script. You know, our services are free. The seller pays us. And now probably let's talk about a win that you had this week, something good that occurred for you in your business. Let's start with that.
I had my first buyer's presentation this week,
Really?
which was daunting, but good.
That's awesome. Tell me about it.
I got the call through Zillow, and he didn't want to sign any BBAs yet, so we met in person over coffee, and I just went through my packets with him and talked
Okay.
about what exactly I can do, and then now we're just waiting to see
So,
what happens.
do you have a defined buyer's presentation?
I do.
Okay. Does it go over your value proposition?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to talk to me about that? What's that look like?
I have a paper on it that just says, "Hey, listen, this is my background. I have a intensive background in marketing and property management, and I work with a team, and this is what I can provide for you. I have people that are backing me. So if you have a question that's coming through me, it's not only me that's helping you, it's a whole team of people."
So, a couple things that, what do you think are the mo things that are most valuable to buyers? If you were a buyer, what would be most valuable to you?
By the price,
Price,
the
right? Yeah, I would agree with you. Price is important. It's like the deal that I'm going to get, right?
yeah, exactly.
And then not only price, what else would be important?
Location would be important. I mean, just the home in general, where exactly it is, if I'm able to grow with it, what exactly it ticks off the boxes on my list of things that I would want.
Right now, what are the biggest challenges for buyers when it comes to getting the three things that you just told me? I think you have a very clear perspective on what buyers are looking for. So I
Mhm.
congratulate you because we have to know that for a buyer to know that, right? So
Yeah.
you told me price, location, and does it tick off all my boxes? What do you have to offer that ensures that a buyer will get the right price, the right location, and that it ticks off all their boxes?
Um, I'm not sure.
Okay, let's talk about that. All right, so I'm imagining if you're working for a larger team,
Hmm.
there are people on the team that focus on listing property, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do listings ever come on with your team that don't go on the MLS right away?
Yes.
Okay. So you have access to properties that aren't even on the market yet, correct?
Hmm.
Could
Yeah.
that be valuable to a buyer?
I would hope so.
You would definitely want to tout that
Yeah.
in your presentation, right? Um,
Hmm.
Also, are you familiar with Workspace for
I
EXP?
am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you have a buyer that needs something, do you have the ability to post it on Workspace?
I would.
And you have access to a network of almost 90,000 EXP agents, correct?
Hmm.
Okay. Would that be valuable to a buyer that's trying to find a home that ticks off all their boxes?
It would.
Okay. So there's two things that you bring to the table. Now, people on your team, how many people are there?
There's about 18 of
Okay.
us.
The experience, if you were to add up and just maybe do a quick survey, and out of
Hmm.
18 people, I know for myself, right? I've been in the industry for 22 years. I'm betting that there are people that have been in the industry for a long time on your team, right?
Yeah.
So how many years total of experience with the people that you're primarily that are like your mentors or that are working with you on your team?
I mean, Justin's been working in real estate for over 20 years.
Okay.
So,
You have access to me, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
22 years experience. That's 42
Exactly.
years of experience. You see how when we get
I
into
see. I see.
these are the things
Mm-hmm.
that you want to make clear to people as to why you're valuable to them. And it's not hocus pocus, it's real, correct? So I'm going to share with you my script for listings and agents.
Okay.
And I'm going to go over the script with you also. And please steal from it whatever is going to serve you the most.
Okay.
Would this help you?
They would.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is one that I created a while ago. So
Okay.
we may refine it a little bit, but would it help you if I took some time and just went over this with you now?
Sure.
Okay, good. Because I want to help you with what's going on in your business in this moment that's going to bring you an opportunity. That's my goal. Here's the buyer presentation. It starts on page 4 of 8.
Uh-huh.
Every agent must have a bullet point list of their value proposition. So the value proposition of working with the Mark Ramey group. So you're going to see mine, steal what's here if it applies to you. All right.
Okay.
And then it should give you some insight to kind of trigger your own. All right. So
Okay.
multiple offers. All buyers are concerned about it. I want my offer accepted over another one. Now, there aren't as many multiple offers right now in the market
Hmm.
as there were maybe just a year ago.
Yeah.
However, when a property is something that everybody wants, we still
Hmm.
run into that. And when something is priced really right, we still run into that. So we build strong relationships with other agents, brokers, and builders, which means we have a reputation of bringing deals to a smooth close through escrow process. We have a 90% offer to acceptance ratio. That means, Sarika, if we present 10 offers, 9 of those offers are
Won't
accepted
go
by
through.
sellers. We're getting them.
Okay.
What you want to do in that instance is you'd want to go to your team lead and say, all right, in our buyer contracts of the ones that we are presenting, see if you can understand that ratio. Because if you were a buyer and you knew that if we're going to get into a multiple offer scenario, you've
Hmm.
got a 90% chance of having your offer accepted over other offers. Do you see how that makes you valuable?
Yes, they would.
So then you just need to define that number. And that can come from one of your team leads that can say, okay, how many buyers have we sold this year? How many offers on average did we present for each one of those buyers? So if we sold 10 buyers so far this year and we presented, let's say 12 offers got accepted, that's the numbers that you're going to use to determine that ratio. Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
All right. Access to inventory. I want an agent who can tell me about homes before they hit the market. Most buyers are looking for this, right?
Yes.
So we have a full-time agent who's on staff with our team who's constantly searching for inventory for you. Which means you have access to pre-market inventory. We also have access to the EXP workplace, where there's
Hmm.
thousands of agents who post homes daily that are not even on the multiple listing service yet. And we can do that because EXP is one large brokerage. There's no
Yeah.
other company that's set up like this. Then the Mark Rainey Group, you would put your team's name in there or whatever it is in there. The Mark Rainey
Hmm.
Group preliminary marketing listings. Currently, I have 8 homes listed that have not hit the multiple listing service as of yet. You'd plug in that current number, whatever that is, whatever your
Yeah.
team, because like frequently I will take listings, and you'll want to ask your team about this, Sarika, that we will take preliminary marketing, and you have to fill out a form with the MLS that
Hmm.
says the seller is giving us permission not to put them in the MLS for whatever reason that is. And usually it's maybe the seller's doing some repairs, or maybe the seller is got a tenant in there and so it can't go live and on the market yet, or for whatever reason that seller's not ready yet. There are listing, however, they're not live. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And
That
now
makes sense.
our buyers have access to that. You and I choose to work together, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. You would have
Hmm.
access to this type of inventory. Is that something that you think could benefit you in finding the ideal home that checks off all of your boxes? You heard what I did.
Yeah.
I did a clip.
I do.
Okay, right? So now experience and knowledge. In the Orlando area, I want an agent who understands the area, so I buy the right property in the right area. Well, our team has 79 years of experience in the Orlando area. We have over 120 five-star reviews. So what you're
Hmm.
going to want to do, Sarika, is you're going to
Just look at your
identify
metric. Yeah.
exactly, find that metric, and then you're going to want to create a link to those reviews. I will send you
Okay.
a link to my reviews so you can see what it looks like. And then you're going to go and find with your team lead, hey, where's all of our five-star reviews? Where can I find them? Mine are aggregated all in one location. Your
Okay.
team might have them all on Zillow. So you want to find where all those reviews are, and then you want to send those out in advance of
I
meeting with
see.
that client. So before you would even go to your coffee with that client, you'd say, would it be okay if I sent you a link to our five-star reviews or to our reviews? We have over X number of reviews. That way you'll get a flavor for what clients are saying about our level of service. Do you see now
Uh-huh.
how this is going to create credibility for you?
Yeah, exactly. And then when you meet them, they have a baseline of,
Exactly. We have 8 years experience of new home construction. Where the
mhm.
buyer specialist on our team, she actually worked for a new home builder for 8 years. So she knows the ins and outs of working with new home builders and to ensure that you get the greatest deal, that you're going to get
Okay.
all of the possible concessions that are available to you as a buyer. Is that something that you think could help you in your
Oh,
process of
I
getting?
mean, of course it would.
So you
Yeah.
hear these little tie downs that I'm doing as I'm presenting, right?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Knowledge of neighborhoods, floor plans, taxes, and schools. So, Sarika, you as someone that has, your parents have bought a home, your knowledge, plus, you have access to IMAP,
Hmm.
right? You know what IMAP is in the MLS,
I
right?
do. On
It
them also, yeah.
It shows the schools, right? It shows the taxes. So this is real.
Yeah,
This is real experience for you that you have access to. Neighborhoods, you have access to that also. Insurance requirements for coverage in Florida. You know what that is, right? Or
I do.
you have access to an insurance specialist that's going to guide them, right?
Okay.
We have a
Yeah.
team of people hired and dedicated to support you. I have a dedicated person to hold your hand and monitor and communicate with you throughout the transaction, from when we get you under contract to when we close your transaction. We have trained people who see problems before they actually happen, as time is of the essence for you in your transaction. I actually have
Mhm.
someone on my team who's closed thousands of transactions because she was in title for many years. Now, I'm just giving you my example. You have to find out what it is in your team, right? I imagine you have transaction coordinators, right?
We do.
Okay, so you're going to find out the details and what they do really well, and you're going to plug
Hmm.
that in right here.
Okay.
All right. I have A plus vetted vendor list, which will give you access to great service providers like lenders, insurance specialists, inspectors, and contractors
Hmm.
that will
So
help
you're
make
basically taking everything that somebody would have questions on or would not know
you
throughout the
got it.
process and
You're exactly
saying,
right.
hey, listen, I know that.
Yeah,
You don't need to learn about it because I'll provide the information for you.
exactly. It's just
Okay.
this has to be like in a bullet point presentation so
Hmm.
that you can go run through this from A to Z with little short closes like I was doing. Is this the type
Uh-huh.
of, proactive approach that you want? You're getting them to say yes, and at the end, then it's going to sound like this. Now here's the script. All right. So value proposition script. Agent. Aaron, you're going to have choices about who you have representing you, okay? Just like sellers do. Sellers have always interviewed agents to sell their home. Now buyers are interviewing agents also to help them buy a home, and they're going to sign a contract probably for 3 months. So that says that, Mark is my exclusive buyer broker, right? Or whomever you
Uh-huh.
choose to represent you. So you're going to have to compare services because at the end of the day, you may have to pay for them. So can I explain to you the services that we offer? What you're going to see here is this is a script that accompanies this bullet point.
I see that.
All right. So my suggestion to you would be you're going to internalize the script. And the
Mm-hmm.
way that I've internalized script, have you ever studied for a test? What's the best way for you to remember things? You personally. Because the way I remember things isn't the way. What does that look like for you?
I typically read it over and then try and apply it to
Okay,
whatever I'm doing in the moment.
I agree. So for me, when I memorize, because I don't work with buyers, I memorize a listing presentation, right? My
Okay.
script is in here. So what I do is I would chant it over and over. I would record it in my voice, and while I'm driving or when I'm in the car, I will just play it back for at least 20 minutes a day so that I hear it. And then that way, when I go to speak it, it's internalized. I don't have to think about what I'm going to say next. It actually allows me to listen better because I'm not
Hmm.
worried about what I'm going to say next. I already know. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
Then we've got compensation conversation script. All right. This I think can apply regardless. Let me go over this one with you. You're going to read through the previous script, right? I already
Uh-huh.
went through it with you, but this one is the compensation conversation. So, agent, I'm really glad. So, typically, this is what's going to happen. You're probably going to get something like this. So, our intention is to always put you, our buyer, first. So, you're never going to have to worry, hey, are these guys just trying to sell me something for a commission, or are they really trying to help me buy the right home for me? Now, that's what we offer. Would you like us to
Uh,
be? Now, that's what we offer. Would you like us to be your agent to find you the ideal home for the next 90 days? Now, you're going to say yes or no. Likely, they're going to have a question like this. Buyer's going to say, can you explain to me what this agreement says and what I'm
mhm.
really committing to?
Yeah.
How we're going to go into that script. Agent, I'm really glad that you brought that up, Sarika, because this is a little bit different. See, traditionally, it's always been that, a buyer like you might say, well, how do you get compensated for all this great stuff that you do? And I would say, our services are free. The seller pays us. And now, probably that will be the case a lot of the time, but it won't necessarily be the case all of the time. So let me tell
Hmm.
you what you're signing up. Agent, first, we're going to show you all of the homes that meet your need. We're not going to waste your time with any that don't. We're going to show you them regardless of the compensation being offered, okay? Because this is about you. Now, most of the time, the seller is going to offer compensation just like they would have always done. We don't
Hmm.
expect it's going to change fundamentally, at least not in the short term, while you're a buyer and you're looking for a home. So you'll see the commission that we're getting, and everybody will be happy. You'll buy a great house, and then the Mark Ramey Group will get compensated, and off we go, just like we've always done in the past. The second way that this might work out is that the seller may be willing to credit us for the right offer for the compensation that this buyer brokerage agreement says that you're going to be responsible for. In other words,
I see.
they may not be offering any compensation or a reduced commission. And we may go to them and say, hey, I'm representing Sarika, and Sarika is a great buyer. And here's her lender, and we can perform. We know that based on her pre-approval letter. You're only
Uh,
offering the 1.5% to our buyer, and our buyer is committed to paying 3%. Would you be willing to credit the 1.5% difference because the buyer frankly doesn't want to pay it or they can't afford to pay it? Now the seller will say, well, you know what? At the right price, we'll do it. Okay, great. So let's review. Number one, the seller will compensate us, and it won't even come up. Number two, they'll partially compensate us, and we're going to ask them to make up the difference so you don't have to come out of pocket. Okay, Sarika?
uh,
So, side note, up until this point, this can't work with a VA buyer. So you're going to work that out with your lender. You'll want to get the rules on that, okay?
hmm.
And then number three, the seller's not going to pay anything and they will not credit you. They're just like, this is my price, that's it. And now, Sarika, we're at a situation where it's a little bit different than it's ever been. One of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to cut you loose and let you go directly to that listing agent if you're comfortable doing that. And I'll do that because I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire. Now, I want you
Uh-huh.
to know I've got a note in here. I say, now this is my decision, my team's decision. You're going to have to make that decision for yourself, Sarika. It may not be any of your decision. So you'll have to, until we see how this is going to work, we got to sort this out. Seller won't pay anything at all. and I'll let you go direct to the listing agent, or you'll say, Sarika, I love you guys. I don't want to negotiate on my own. I don't want to be thrown to the wolves. I don't want to be at the mercy of the seller's agent to tell me what's right or wrong about an inspection, or what's right or wrong about, removing an appraisal contingency, or all of these things that I thought were good for me. I want
Yeah.
mine. Okay. In that case, Sarika, you're going to be responsible for compensating us what it says here in the buyer brokerage agreement, which is 3%. Now, like any good
Hmm.
attorney or other professional, that's how we would be compensated if the traditional means are not available to us. Does this make sense, Sarika?
Yeah.
Great. Do you want us to represent you?
Sure.
Great. Sign here.
Okay.
So,
I mean, it's very to the point, but it's not talking about it too much, which I like.
okay.
You're not going so in depth where it feels daunting. It's just kind of like, here is the basic bullet points of what this is.
And that's it. We want to let them know
Yeah.
what's really happening here. Now,
Yeah, exactly.
in my experience, Sarika, what I've
Hmm.
been running into as I list properties, I can only speak from my experience. When I describe this situation to a seller, I'm letting
Uh-huh.
them know that I'm already getting calls from buyers, agents, and buyers' agents are saying to me, hey, excuse me, my buyers are doing an FHA loan and it's everything that they can to come up with the 3.5% down payment, and let alone even their closing costs. If you're Is
Uh-huh.
your buyer paying compensation to me, to an agent? And they're going to say yes or no. Now, I say in my instance, I'm always getting compensation from my sellers. But what I'm telling my sellers is the buyer's agents are coming to me and they're asking, and if I have to say no to them, they're saying, I'm sorry, I can't show your property
I'm
because my
not
buyer can't
exactly.
afford it.
Yeah.
Now, what that's doing is it's letting my seller know the value of them actually offering compensation. So I hope this helps you.
No, it does. And I'm gonna go and look at all those metrics, and add them all in.
Good. Because nothing has, in my experience in this industry,
Uh-huh.
nothing has made me feel more free and confident
Hmm.
than when I actually took the time to internalize and memorize my presentation.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now, where I'm rereading it over and over and over again and trying to make sure that I have everything memorized, because like you were saying, it's like once it's memorized, then all I'm doing is listening, because it just becomes this thought in your head of like your mouth is speaking like you're in what is it, Charlie Brown,
Yeah,
and
wah, wah,
talking.
wah, 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 exactly.
Yeah. And you
Yes.
can't hear it in your head, but then you're relaying the information to them. So,
And when you know what you're going to say next and it's concise and
mhm,
efficient, does the client appreciate that more?
they do,
Yeah.
from what I've seen.
And also, if we know what we're going to say next, we don't have to think about our words. We can think about what the buyers and or sellers are saying to us.
Yeah.
It gives us the ability then to listen better. And when we listen better, buyers, we make a connection with people so much quicker. And then when we make that connection, the trust factor goes way up. When trust is
Yeah.
high, buyers will sign an agreement with us. Sellers will sign an agreement with us. So I applaud you for understanding the value and that you're memorizing your script. What I've learned, the way that I've internalized my script the fastest is I actually made a commitment to show up at least 5 days a week, if not six, to
Okay.
where I've got to show up and someone else is going to be there on the other end of the phone and we're role playing. If I don't make that commitment, it's hit or miss as to whether I'm actually doing the work to get it done. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I understand that. The thing that I have been doing though is I gained access to the role-playing AI software. So whenever I'm driving, I'll just do those calls over and over and over again and go through like confused buyers or standard buyers or um, people that
Role-playing
are
AI
giving like a crazy
software. Tell me
pushback.
about that. I'm going to learn something from.
Um, God, I don't know what the exact name of it is, but I could send you a text. But it's basically a number, and you give that number a call, and then there's a AI person on the other side that goes through and asks you all these questions, and at the end, you have to win the game. you have to set up an appointment. So they can hang up on you, they can ask for all these questions. There, after the settlement, they added a few more questions into it regarding like the BBA and what exactly the NAR settlement is and what's changed. During the before the election, there was questions about the election,
Right.
questions about interest rates, market trends, and it gives you three different numbers. So you have like a standard buyer, a confused buyer, a confused seller, and just like an argumentative person.
Awesome.
And you can just keep going, and getting another person in another area asking all these random questions. And it scores you at the end. So it says like, this is what you've done. Here is a bullet pointed list of all the questions that you answered correctly and like things that we think you could improve on. And then here is the bullet pointed list of everything that we felt like you did phenomenally with.
Nice. Okay,
It's
good.
great. Yeah.
Good. How often are you doing it?
I try and do it every other day. So I'll do it like on my drive here for half an hour
Okay,
and then on my drive home.
that's powerful.
Yeah.
Um, so I know that we didn't get to business plan much today, uh,
Uh-huh.
and yet it seemed you had a different need. Is it okay that we've covered what we covered?
That's it is.
All right. Um, Now we've got a little bit of time left. Are there any other questions that I can help you with? Do you want me to start running through the business plan, or should we focus on that next time?
Let's focus on it next time. I'm gonna go ahead and go through and go over everything that we went over today, and then next time we'll do the
Awesome.
business,
You know, if you
if
have
that's
any
okay.
questions, you can reach out to me. I'm an open book for you.
Thank you.
I want you
Thank
to
you.
be
Thank you.
successful. Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I'm glad that I'm like getting back into it slowly because I was finishing just classes and all of that, and it just became too much. So I was talking to mom and dad about it. I was like, listen, I want to get back into this, but I just need a few months where I can like finish everything else that I've already started. And now that it's done, I'm like, well, now I have the time
Good.
to do this.
Good.
Yeah.
I can see your commitment. It's
Mhm.
powerful, and you will be successful because of it.
Thank you.
I'm here for you, and I look forward to seeing you more on these masterminds. Good. You rock, and I'll look forward to connecting with you soon.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
All right,
I hope
take
you feel
care.
better.
Thank you. Bye now.